The human race is basically untouchable, from our weapons, our civilization, and our intelligence. Okay, maybe not all of us, but humans as a whole. Our only competition is ourselves. But I've always wondered, before all of this, what used to hunt us? And it turns out our ancestors had a pretty rough time. These are 7 prehistoric animals that actually hunted humans, and nowhere was more brutal than Australia 50,000 years ago. So these are the first humans to set foot on the continent, and they're making their way inland, hunting, gathering, learning the rhythm of this strange new land. But they're careful. They've already seen massive kangaroos and giant wombats. But there is something else out there, something that's been waiting in the shadows for over 2 million years. Megalania, the largest terrestrial lizard that has ever lived. At up to 7 meters long, that's about 23 feet, and weighing as much as 600 kilograms, that's 1,300 pounds, this thing was an absolute monster. It was basically a Komodo dragon, but triple the length and 10 times the weight. And for context, modern Komodo dragons can take down fully grown water buffalo. That animal weighs well over a ton. So just imagine what a Megalania could do. It didn't just kill you right away either. It hunted like its smaller relatives do today. It ambushes its prey, takes one bite, and then it waited. Its teeth were built for slashing deep wounds that wouldn't stop bleeding. The bite alone is catastrophic. Massive lacerations, broken bone, but the venom is where it gets really bad. Komodo dragons have a kind of venom that prevents blood clotting and drops your blood pressure. Megalania likely had the same thing, only scaled up. That single bite would leave you bleeding, weakening, going into shock, and if you managed to escape, it didn't matter, because it would follow the blood trail, slowly, patiently, waiting for the venom to finish the job. Then, when you couldn't move anymore, it would start eating you, and you would still be alive to watch. Aboriginal Australians fought back with spears, boomerangs, and fire. In groups, they could drive one off, maybe even kill one if they aimed for the head or neck. But if you were alone, caught off guard, yeah, that's kind of horrifying to think about. But if you think that a giant venomous lizard is bad, wait until you see something that was also hunting us from the sky. We are now in New Zealand, around 1280 AD. The Maori have just arrived on these islands and they're already telling stories because there's something in the forest. Something massive. Something that swoops down from trees and takes people. They call it Pawakai, the bird that kills. We call it Haast's eagle, the largest eagle that has ever lived. With a wingspan of nearly 3 meters, that's almost 10 feet, and weighing up to 18 kilograms, about 40 pounds, Haast's eagle was built like no bird alive today. A modern golden eagle weighs around 4 kilograms. Haast's eagle weighs 4 times that. Its talons were the size of tiger claws, front claws at 2 inches long and the rear talon close to 4.5 inches. And it used these to hunt moa, giant flightless birds. So basically when humans showed up, we looked like a pretty tasty snack. You'd be walking through the forest, gathering food, keeping an eye out for dangers on the ground, maybe then a shadow or a cry. Maybe that's all the warning you'd get. Haast's eagle dove, full speed, talons extended, striking from above with enough force to crush bone. These claws could penetrate a human skull, puncture straight through your chest, and its grip strength was enough to take down prey more than 10 times its own weight. For sure, it could pick up and carry off a child, and it probably targeted adults as well. Maori oral history backs this up, with cave paintings, actual images showing humans in conflict with these enormous birds. If you saw it coming, you could maybe try and fight it off, but that's a big maybe. These people made sure to hunt in groups, so they wouldn't be easy to pick off. They set traps, lit fires burning through the night, because once Haast's eagle marks you as prey, if you weren't careful, your days would be numbered. But just when early humans thought they'd seen it all, something even more terrifying shows up. Because these aren't the lions we know today. North America. 30,000 years ago, the Ice Age is in full swing. And roaming the plains is one of the most fearsome predators to ever walk the continent, the American lion, Panthera atrox. Modern African lions weigh around 200 kilograms or 440 pounds. That's impressive, and they look great on wildlife documentaries. But the American lion reached up to 450 kilograms. That's almost 1,000 pounds. That's as much as a small brown bear. And over in Eurasia, you also had cave lions called Panthera spelaea, ranging from Spain all the way to Siberia, hunting alongside Neanderthals and early humans. These things were absolutely massive as well, but unlike modern lions, they had no manes. We know this because Ice Age humans painted them all over cave walls, and they did this a lot. They were terrified of them, and you can't blame them. These lions hunted the same way lions do today. Ambush, stealth, they'd creep up within a few meters, hidden in the tall grass behind rocks, and then explode out of cover, pin you down, pride working together to topple an adult human within seconds. Humans fought back with whatever they could. Spears, bows, and fire. They avoided open ground after dark. I mean, you'd have to, right? Because if you got caught out in the open, you were prey. The American lion's bite force was around 2,800 newtons, enough to shear straight through bone. And cave lions? Genetic evidence shows they competed with humans for the same resources, the same hunting grounds, the same prey. An encounter with a pride of Ice Age lions would have been like rocking straight up to an angry pride today, except these cats were bigger, stronger, and way more aggressive. But some of these creatures didn't chase you at all. Like this monster. East Africa, Tanzania, 1.8 million years ago. Early humans are gathering at the water's edge. They're careful, watching the shallows, filling containers, staying alert, because they know something lives in the water. Something that has a name that says it all. Bear with me on the name, but Crocodilius anthropopagus. That pronunciation might be brutal, but this thing was insane. At around 6 meters long, that's basically 20 feet, and maybe grew even longer. Longer than any Nile or American crocodile alive today. This thing was built like a nightmare. Horns jutted out of its eyes, giving it an almost demon-like appearance, and its jaws were powerful enough to snap a human leg like a twig. We know for sure it ate early humanoids as well, because we found bite marks, deep punctures from massive teeth right there in the fossil record at Olduvai Gorge. The attack would have been textbook crocodile. It would wait, submerged perfectly still, eyes and nostrils just above the waterline. Early humans would approach, cautious, yes, but they needed water, so they had no choice. Then it would lunge, jaws clamping down, dragging you under before you could even scream. And unlike the lions, back then, humans had no proper spears, no bows, no projectile weapons at all. We weren't even Homo sapiens yet. They would wade carefully, maybe using sticks to probe the shallows, but if the crocodile grabbed you, you're screwed. Well, not completely screwed. Some actually survived. We found some bones with healed crocodile bites, proof that a few people survived these attacks, but most didn't. This Crocodilius rivaled some of the largest prehistoric crocodiles. It turned every waterhole, every riverbank, every lake into a kill zone. And if the water didn't get to you, the smell of blood might. Because this is the short-faced hyena, with a science name I'm not even going to try and say. But in Africa and Eurasia, they also crossed paths with early humans around 1.8 million years ago. In fact, for hundreds of thousands of years, we had to contend with them. And at first, our weapons would have been terrible. Just like with that demon croc we just spoke about, we had no spears. We didn't really use them until around 500,000 years ago, which is a pretty big problem when you're dealing with something like a giant hyena, standing nearly a meter tall at the shoulder and weighing around 110 kilograms. That's 240 pounds, like a heavyweight UFC fighter. This was one of the largest hyenas that has ever lived. But unlike modern hyenas, its face was shorter and more powerful. Modern spotted hyenas have a bite force of around 1,000 newtons, enough to crack open most bones, but this prehistoric nutjob was far stronger. Its teeth were larger and more robust. Its short, broad skull meant extreme crushing power, enough to shatter human bones with barely any effort at all. We've actually found evidence of Homo erectus skulls with hyena tooth marks, deep punctures, gnawed bones, and that's scary enough just to think about. But imagine just preparing your meat at a kill site. You and your family working quickly, trying to get the meat before other predators arrive, and then you hear it. That whooping call. You look up, a group of giant hyenas drawn by the scent of blood are moving in. If you were lucky, you might drive them off with fire or just shouting. It's quite possible we're in the early stages of discovering fire at this time. But if you were distracted, or maybe you were too far from your shelter, they would rush in, aiming for your limbs, your face, anything that would incapacitate you really fast. One hyena was dangerous, but in an open confrontation with a pack, that would not be a good day at the office. But then there's one predator that everybody knows about, or at least thinks they know. This is the saber-tooth cat, Smilodon. The Americas around 13,000 years ago. Paleo-Indians are moving through the landscape, hunting bison, camels, and giant sloths. And then they see it, crouched in the brush, watching. Smilodon fatalis in North America weighed up to 280 kilograms, that's over 600 pounds. And in South America, Smilodon populator was even larger, up to 470 kilograms, that's over 1,000 pounds. They were more muscular and stocky than any modern cat, basically a tank with claws. But the teeth are what you would notice. This is the stuff of nightmares. 18 centimeters. That's 7-inch canines. With a gape of 110 degrees, Smilodon could open its mouth wider than any living cat. It would hide its massive body in cover and then explode out with a huge leap. Its forelimbs, stronger than a lion's, would grapple and pin you, then it would bite deep into your neck, severing the windpipe and slicing through the carotid artery. One strike was all it would take. You'd experience massive blood loss. It would be over in seconds. It's probably the most famous predator of the Ice Age, but it wasn't the only saber-tooth. In Africa, there was Dinophilis, a smaller, false saber-tooth that specialized in ambushing early hominids. And we know it succeeded because we found fossil skulls that have been punctured clean through by Dinophilis teeth. These cats were expert hunters. But there is one more predator that didn't stalk or pounce. It just walked towards you. We're in North America. 14,000 years ago, the Ice Age is ending, and the first Paleo-Indians are pushing deeper into the continent. They are experienced. They faced mammoths, saber-tooths, and more. But this made even the best hunters hesitate. On its hind legs, it stood over 3 meters tall. That's almost 10 feet. Taller than any grizzly, taller than any polar bear. Arctodus simus, the short-faced bear. It weighed up to 950 kilograms. That's over 2,000 pounds. 2 to 3 times heavier than a modern grizzly. Unlike most bears, this thing had long, powerful legs. Yeah, I mean, it was built for running. It could chase you down, outrun you. And when it caught you, which it would have, one swipe from those massive paws would be devastating. One bite would crush your skull. Sorry guys, this is getting pretty dark now. I mean, we've all heard about modern grizzly attacks, leaving survivors with broken arms, shattered thighs, crushed ribs. But this thing would have been much, much worse. But at Lubbock Lake in Texas, archaeologists found something incredible. A short-faced bear carcass processed by humans. It had skinning marks, defleshing cuts. This bear was actually butchered and eaten, which means humans didn't just fear them, they fought them and killed them. It would have taken everything we had. Groups of hunters with heavy spears and darts, fired to keep it at bay, coordinated attacks. It was among the largest land carnivores to ever exist. An opportunistic predator and scavenger that used sheer size and speed to dominate. It could intimidate other predators away from kills, even ambush prey at waterholes. When you're out with your buddies, doing a cheeky bit of hunting after hours, you did not want to run into one of these. The short-faced bear. That was the last predator on our list as well. For millions of years, humans, we struggled to be at the top of the food chain. We had to fight and keep ourselves there, as we were predators and prey. Let us know in the comments, guys, what was your favorite predator in this entire video? And on screen right now is another one of our uploads we think you're gonna absolutely love.